right? Be very intentional with making changes. So this is really that time to re-examine what's going on, right? We're in a retrograde period. For those, you know me if you're in this group, I'm Africa, but I'm over here on the West Coast. Venus in retrograde. So you kind of want to be careful with expenditure. So this is even a great time to deal with all the expenditures that happen. Really take careful analysis of what's going on. Maybe it's time to relaunch something. Retrograde periods are great for relaunching. All of those kinds of things, but definitely a careful re-examination is really called for, and making sure what you're doing matches up with your why. Now, we all evolve, right, as human beings, so you're in that mode of evolving, and therefore things have changed. Your why has kind of changed. But just be very intentional, be very aware. Don't just kind of get taken off on the merry road. But there's going to be a lot of creativity. Why we get a chance to slow down? These periods make us slow the F down. Great question. Someone asked whether I was born in Venus retrograde. Well, a couple of things. But I'm just going to go into like a couple of things depending on other things in your chart. So I'm just going to be kind of general. But when you're born under retrograde, whether it's Venus or Mercury or Mars, all right, any retrograde, doesn't matter. It means that energy doesn't really affect you the same way. So where everyone else might be feeling the effects of it, some people more intensely than others, it really doesn't affect you at all. So I was born under Mercury retrograde. So whereas everyone else is having bizarre technological issues, I'm just like, yeah, everything's fine. I remember that before I really, really looked into it. I am like, I don't know why people flip out over Mercury retrograde. I never have computer issues. I mean, there are a few. There's some short periods where I could, but I really don't. I never backed things up. I never did all the things that one would normally do to prepare. So the same thing is true with Venus retrograde. You just don't have the issues most of the people would have during. So Venus, now going more into Venus. So that's my general retrograde thing, if you're born under retrograde. So that's a good thing to check out. Like run your natal chart, figure it out. All right, so basically Venus, this is a time when you think about Venus rules Libra and rules Taurus. So contracts, Venus, and Taurus, money. Right, there's two signs that really deal with money, Taurus and Scorpio. Taurus, your money. Scorpio, other people's money. So with Venus ruling contracts under Libra, right, and all things legal, and your personal money with Taurus, those are things you want to be really keenly aware of. And usually in Venus retrograde, it's a really good idea not to sign contracts. Right? Not to try to get into any legal battles. Because you're putting your own personal stuff at risk, your own personal fortune at risk, whatever that is. Right? So that would be the biggest thing with Venus retrograde. And then, of course, we think Venus and we think love. And so those things too. You're going to want to make sure that anything having to do with your relationships, those are going to get really re-examined during Venus retrograde. All this stuff's going to come up. Is what typically happens. And it gives you that opportunity to have some really good discussions. But again, with being born under Venus retrograde, that might not happen for you. So I hope that answers the question. What happens during Venus retrograde and how those things don't necessarily affect you. I still wouldn't willy-nilly push into legal arguments just because, or get into legal entanglements because, Venus retrograde doesn't affect me because I was born under Venus retrograde. What I would do is I would, as I say for everyone, read the fine print at this time. Always read the fine print, but be even more fastidious about it, I guess.